I think about your lineage and how you started, and then this record, Didn't He Ramble? And I wonder how far apart those things are or how close.
I think they echo, don't they? They repeat. Like, I think in a way that, for me, the me that wrote these songs is the same me that wrote my first songs, except I'm just, every time I go back to it, I'm trying to whittle and get, get to the sort of the truth of it. Songs are amazing things. They just flash. There's you're sitting somewhere and then a line or something you hear or something just goes click, and then you've got a chord and you've got a line.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that can sustain you. Sometimes you can get a whole song in that flash, in that sort of like somewhat whatever it's called. The muse lands on your shoulder. It
visits you, and there it is.
Yeah, you just get this moment of inspiration. And I guess in a lot of ways never given too much credit to the perspiration, to the then sitting with the idea and going, well, what is it? Like Winning Streak, for instance, was called Losing Streak. So this song, May Your Losing Streak, never, or whatever it was just some moany, thing.
But Losing Streak is one of those things. That's a title.
It's
right?
a title, yeah, and that's where it came. That's what came to me first. And then I thought, you know what? I'm not digging this song, and I don't know why. And what came with age and what came with a bit of perspective was, why don't I flip that lyric on its head? Let me write that lyric again from the completely opposite perspective.
Almost like an exercise.
As an exercise, literally as a kind of an intellectual exercise in songwriting. Turn it into a positive, good-willing song. And then, of course, the moment I did that, I started seeing all these comparisons to Forever Young, the Bob Dylan song, may your heart always be joyful, may your song always be sung, and may you stay, through summer's long, winter's cold, may you always have someone good to hold.
Yeah.
I started seeing this like direct line between that song and Forever Young. Now, not to compare the songs as how they touch people, because that's none of my business, but I was like, oh my God, there's two reactions. Oh my God, that sounds like Forever Young. Shit, I can't do it. Or, oh my God, that sounds like Forever Young. I've just had a breakthrough. And it's so simple, and it's just words. And when words are formed correctly, they can have this very intense, worldwide impact.
It's almost an oxymoron to call something a simple song, because if the simple songs are the hardest to write, then they aren't simple at all.
In a way, I feel like we all have to drag ourselves out of bed in the morning. Whether you're Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, Matisse, whoever you got to drag yourself out of bed. You got to drag your clothes on. You got to get into your day, and you got to get to work.
When you say that, and I read a bit about the process of making this record and about how this record was a struggle for you.
I'd been touring, and through touring, you come up with ideas, and you play the ideas with your band, and they sound great. And sometimes you even play them on stage. Sometimes you play a half-baked idea on stage in front of 1,000 people, just to sort of see if it's feeling, And I kind of had this batch of things I was excited about. And I booked a studio in New York right after a tour. Got Brian Blade and his band, the Fellowship Band. And I arrive in, and in my mind, I'm going to play these songs. These guys are going to play something over them. Lightning's going to happen in a bottle, and we're going to come out of here with, hopefully the bones of a record.
Right.
Not taking into account that I was utterly, completely exhausted with nothing to offer. I thought that somehow the energy would, and again, this is relying on the muse. This is where it gets dangerous. You cannot ever, the muse makes no appointment with any of us. So I showed up in this beautiful studio, Avatar, and here I am with this amazing jazz band. And I've got this amazing engineer, and I've got Thomas Bartlett producing the session. I walk in, and I've got nothing. And I play all these ideas to the lads, and they play them, and they sound amazing, and I've got nothing. The muse wasn't there. And that was the hardest lesson I've learned in my whole life as a musician.
Did you know it right then, or did someone have to tell you, or did you have to have it absorbed?
I took some time. I mean, it sounded incredible. The session sounded incredible. It's a whole album worth of ideas. And Thomas came to me afterwards and says, Glenn, it's just not good enough.
How does that feel?
Really, really difficult. And I kind of hated him. And I spent a few days thinking about it, and I thought, he's absolutely, completely spot on. And he loves me, and that's why he said it. It just didn't have any legs. It had ideas. And so what I realized was that I needed to write these songs. And I needed to write them without the muse.